Welcome to the program. I'm Ian Anderson. Thanks for your company. Hope you can stick with us for the next hour or so. And my special guest in the studio this morning is Pastor Gary White from Victory Life Church. Good morning, Victory Life Toowoomba.
Good morning, Ian.
And Molly Goshi. Good morning, Molly.
Good morning, Ian.
A concerned mum.
Yes, that's right.
I guess what we're going to talk about today is something that is getting more and more attention in the media, same-sex marriage. Now, generally, from my reading of what research I have seen, is that people are more inclined, this is the secular community particularly, are more inclined to say, well, look, if it's two consenting adults and they want to do something in private, they're not upsetting anyone, no one's being tied up and flogged or any of those other S&M type activities. If it's it all seems pretty harmless, just let them get on with it. But if it turns to marriage, that's something totally different completely. Is that right, Gary? We're concerned that there are changes being effected to accommodate same-sex marriage that will have a deep impact on the whole of the community.
Yes, Ian, thank you. It is, and I don't approach this as a pastor. I approach this as a concerned citizen, as someone that has looked into these things and sees that it's not just a change to the Marriage Act to allow two people of the same sex to marry. That's not
that's a very emotional issue. It seems pretty straightforward. Why not let them do it?
Absolutely. That's our thought, and that's what most of us think, and that's what the general populace thinks, that it's okay. If they want to marry, they're leaving me alone. I don't care what they do, they can do it. But when we change the Marriage Act, there are a number of other laws that must be changed and bills that must be changed to accommodate the changes to the Marriage Act. And in those, there's the raft of legislation, such as the Anti-Discrimination Act, education must change, Social Security, adoption. And most of would say, well, so what? The effects, I can't see how they were going to affect me. But we only have what's happened in other countries to fall back on, countries that have changed the law, similar democratic countries that have changed the law.
Can we go back to the changes that are going to happen? And Molly, if you'd like to chime in at any time, they're going to change the Marriage Act itself to define the Marriage Act as two people. Instead of a man and a woman, it'll just be two people. Now, again, that seems pretty straightforward, but here's the devil in the detail. The Governor-General may make regulations amending acts other than the Marriage Act, being amendments that are consequential on or that otherwise relate to the enactment of this Act. To me, that says the government of the day can really, without going through Parliament, without the scrutiny of Parliament, they can change, once the Marriage Act has been redefined as two people, the Governor-General, on advice from the Executive of the day, can make any changes without that parliamentary scrutiny. Is that my reading correct?
Absolutely, and that's what we've found has been the problem. It's not the changes to the Marriage Act. We can get over the bit, well, it's between two people. Okay, we can handle that. But we only have to look at where countries have adopted same-sex marriage. Those countries, every time it's been brought in by politicians, every time it's gone to a referendum, it has been soundly defeated when people have understood the full ramifications of what had to change. Such as with education, we're changing that to where we now have sex ed in schools. We have to accommodate sex education for same-sex couples. Now, to most of us, that might be reasonably offensive to have our children witness that. But
at what ages have they been doing it overseas?
It starts as young as 5. Starts as young as 5 years old, and it's not the full-blown sex ed. They start at 5 to desensitise these children to homosexuality. They start at 5 years old to have them understand that, well, you were born a little girl, but maybe a bit later you can choose who your partner is.